All right, welcome back. We have one crazy system of electing presidents here in this country. That is for sure. And many people have called me over the last year. A lot more people in this divisive environment have got more involved in politics. And a lot of people call me up and said, JT, explain this whole electoral college thing to me. I don't get it. And I actually been thinking about doing a little schoolhouse rock, like a kids show on the electoral college to explain it for adults who want to know. But what many don't realize is the popular vote in your state is not to vote for president. It's to vote for the electors who will go to the electoral college. And the majority of those votes in that state will determine to the legislature whose electors they send to Washington. So you're not actually voting for a president. You're voting for an elector who can go vote and cast a vote on you and the other voters' behalf for a president. So it gets a little tricky out there. And I'm not an attorney. I don't play one on TV. I'm not a professor. I barely made it through college, but I loved it so much I spent 5 years there. But someone who knows this a lot better than me joins us right now. Jonathan Adler is with us. He's a law professor at Case Western Reserve University. And I tried to, Jonathan, thanks for joining us. I try to kind of put it in regular man's terms on this show and let people kind of get something to take away from it. But it's still tricky, even for me, understanding it. How do you teach college kids about why this is the good way to do it?
Well, first we try and teach them how it works and then try to understand why someone would have come up with this idea. And I think for a lot of these processes, it's helpful to understand when these rules were written and when we've updated them, why we updated them. So, we didn't have TV, we didn't have radio, we didn't have the ways to have large national campaigns the way we do now. And so for people in different states to have a popular vote for president in the context of one campaign season, people wouldn't know who the candidates were. They wouldn't get a chance to see them. But the idea was that electors in each state would have an idea of what the people in the state wanted, but would be more familiar with the political leaders that were vying for office. So if you think about just the technological constraints that people faced, a lot of the processes make sense. So the idea is the electors know, okay, people in my state support these ideas. Who's the person that represents these ideas? There was also a hope that electors would exercise a certain degree of judgment or discernment that the average person might not. There was an elitist streak to this idea. Back when the Electoral College was created, electors weren't bound in any way. Today, in the majority of states, the electors are required by state law to vote for the candidate of the party that the voters of their state chose. But if you go back to the founding, they didn't even have that because they wanted the electors to be able to say, yeah, this guy might not be might be popular, but he'd be a disaster, so we're going to go with someone else. And that was part of the idea as well.
So there's all this hullabaloo going on the internet that some states sent, two sets of electors and both candidates are over 270. I kind of look at that as a bunch of hogwash. But the truth of the matter is the legislatures can only certify one set of electors. Is that right?
Right. And again, we want to, the law that determines how you certify and count the electors was written in 1887. So we have to think about why the rules work that way. So the legislature has determined how the electors were going to be selected, which they all did. They all said this is going to be done by popular vote. Every state but two says it's winner take all. Two states, Nebraska and Maine, actually divide the electors up based on congressional districts. The legislatures then approve that and then send them to Washington, D.C. The reason there's some confusion is because the way the law is written, again, in 1887, they figured, okay, you're putting this into the mails in 1887. It's going to take a while to get to Washington, D.C. The envelope's going to show up. How do you verify the contents of the envelope? You can't pick up the phone. You can't have a video call. And so there are these processes that are designed to deal with the possibility that something get lost, someone set in a fraudulent ballot. But the reality is what the election results that were certified in each state produced a slate of electors. That slate of electors is what is transmitted to Washington. That slate of electors is what we'll control on January 6th. We may get some fireworks. We may get a little bit of a show by someone claiming to object. The objection will go nowhere. The electors that were certified in each state
let me,
are the only.
if you don't mind, I want to understand this better. And I've spoken to some people that I highly respect their objectivity and their understanding of the process here. And I've been told, and you can fix it or tell me where it's wrong, but I've been told by people that I respect their ability that if there are a member of the House and a member of the Senate who file some kind of joint resolution or joint committee to reject the results and not confirm the results, then the two houses would have to separate, reconvene, and come back and try to fix that. Is that true?
Pretty close. So if a member of Congress believes that the electors that have been presented for any given state are invalid, they can raise an objection. As you noted, you need both a member of the House and a member of the Senate. And then if that is presented, they can the House and Senate split up into each House. They can debate for up to 2 hours. And then they take a vote on whether or not to affirm or reject. They each take a vote on whether to affirm or reject the objection. The last time this happened was in January 2005. About 30 members of the House and one senator raised concerns about Ohio's electors. They went off. They discussed it. They came back. They accepted the electors. We might see a repeat of that, but it's pretty clear that not only is there no legal basis for rejecting any of the slates of electors, that you would not get a majority in either house, let alone both of them, to reject the presented electors.
All right, I just want to understand that a little better. So
Sure.
There's no precedent, you say, for them to object. Like, let's say between now and January 6th, the results in Michigan and Arizona are seriously called into question by some court case, or Pennsylvania is heard in the Supreme Court. And we have 2 or 3 states that are still being litigated on the fairness of the election. Would there be maybe precedent setting? But if Ted Cruz and Mo Brooks said, hey, we're coming together and saying, we got 4 states that we don't know what the results were, although they've been certified, there's these ex post facto issues here. I'm going to just whip out my 8th grade law class, but it sounds like the certified electors are the fruit of a poisonous tree if a judge rules that the election wasn't fair.
Well, I mean, the judge would not only have to rule that the election wasn't fair, but that it was sufficiently unfair that the results would be called into question. So, for example, there is this lawsuit in Pennsylvania that's still going on about ballots that arrived after Election Day. And there's a legitimate debate about those ballots. But there are too few of those ballots to change the result. And of the cases that we see now still in the courts that actually present viable or substantive theories, they all affect the margin of votes that they could affect are all too small to overturn the result in any state. So I don't see anything in these cases that could produce that result. But hypothetically, right, if tomorrow we discovered smoking gun evidence in 4 states, sure, that is conceivably possible. But having looked at these election suits, having looked at the specific claims, and looked at the sorts of claims that could actually justify the extreme remedy of setting aside an election or disqualifying large numbers of votes, there's just nothing in any of the litigation that would reach that. And it's worth remembering that in 2000, when the final tally in Florida was something like 550 votes, somewhere in that neighborhood, there was still no senator who was willing to
Challenge
object to certifying Florida.
Right,
I mean, some House members did.
All right, well,
I'm gonna say this-
I like the way you debunk all my theories, and we like to give our audience the truth and the facts, and you were great at it. Jonathan Adler, law professor from Case Western University. Thank you, my friend. We got to have you back soon.
Happy to do it.
Great job. Thank you. All right, quick break. More Liquid Lunch coming at you right after this. We're going to mix it up with David Eisenback and John Burnett, Democrat, Republican. Swing it out right after this.